is the Lander Performance Ford GT3. That's car number 8. It might be an A6 Pro car, but it's very close indeed to the FAC Autotech 991 Pro leader. And let's see whether the 62 is now pitted, in fact. So the number 8 given a little bit of a break for freedom now, and the driver of it, Nico Verdonk, feeling the need to try and get some heat back into those Hankook tyres that have become very, very cold and very, very firm under the code 16.
Great communication on that team, Johnny. We saw when it went green, instantly Nico Verdonk was on it, and the cars around him at that time were a little bit napping a little bit, and so that proves, you know, the communication to that Ford was absolutely spot on, and Nico Verdonk was able to get straight on it and get onto the tail of the car in front of him, and by the time he got on the straight, he was able to get past, because he is trying to pull away from, let me just find out where I was, from the FAC Auto Porsche. That's not that far behind him, and albeit they're in a different class, they are still racing for overall position. Currently in 14th overall, and only 3.7 seconds is the gap between 14th and 15th. Now that number SPS Mercedes into the pits and pitted and fueled, and also the number 9 Motorsport were battling for and still battling now. It seemed that they had exceeded track limit. Doing were issued penalties. Now that has put back in behind the Mercedes, and the gap across the line last time by was just under 50 seconds. So that penalty has really done the job.
Trying to get by and eventually successfully getting by the 16 car, but have pressed the reset button to an extent now. 45.2 seconds is once again the gap between the jungle Mercedes and that orange and white Audi. Drama for the
Johnny.
115 car, and that is the third position in the TCE race, no less. Max Partle in the 115 Bonk Motorsport car, looking slow, and that's a front right puncture, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a front right puncture on the 115 Audi RS3. And he's doing a sterling job there. He's keeping quite a bit of speed up, actually, as he brings the car on. The tyre on the right-hand front of the Audi has not broken up and delaminated and damaged any bodywork, but if he continues at that pace, I fear that that is exactly what's going to happen. He perhaps needs to slow down a little bit more. He slowed down enough and keeping out the way of everyone, and now we see the tyre begin to deform and leave the rim. And that's the problem. When that tyre starts flailing around, he's going to take out the front wing if he's not careful.
He's got 6 laps of an advantage on the 4th place car in the TCE race. So, yes, he can afford to slow down. And what he can't afford to do is to do lots of damage. So, if you do lots of damage, then you'll suddenly lose 10 minutes getting the car repaired. If he brings it in slowly, then that'll be a big help to him. So that cushion that he built up earlier in the race, very useful to the car to keep it in 3rd place in the TC race.
Yeah, I mean, that's an overall podium in the TC Championship race, isn't it? I mean, that's a pretty important position there.
Well, the natural temptation is to try and get it back to the pits as quickly as you can. can. It's just not in the racing driver's mentality, I suppose, to drive slowly, but that's what needs to be done.
Also important in terms of overall positions in the GT Series race is what went on in the battle between Manthey and Grasser. Manthey with the Porsche, and with currently at the wheel of the Porsche is Lars Kern, Mirko Bortolotti having taken over the Grasser Lamborghini for the final stint. Now, Grasser only made one stop during that Code 60. Remember, I saw it coming down through the final turn and said it stayed out there. The Manthey car came in and made 2 pit stops, so it got a full allocation of fuel by getting the 2 pit stops in. 2 halves make a whole, whereas the Grasser Lamborghini only got half its allocation. So the Grasser Lamborghini will be taking back the position, I think, and if it does, it will then still have to, and it's not taking back the position, hasn't it? It's still in 3rd place, and the Grasser Lamborghini still has to make another pit stop. So suddenly the 2nd place has turned towards Manthey.
Down in the pits, the 115 cars made it back, and the Bonk Motorsport guys set to work, Bruce Jones.
Yeah, and clearly they listened very clearly to Joe Bradley, because there's no damage visible on that front right corner, where of course the tyre delaminated, but clearly just the right amount of speed was maintained to get it back to the pits without any damage. At this late stage in the race, when most of the crews are already starting to pack their tools away, it'd be really, really boring for them to have to suddenly go and find some front bodywork or some duct tape. As with almost all pit stops at this stage, you get the air hose out just to blast the radiator clear as much as they can. Should be down on terra firma shortly and back into the race. So just over an hour to go, and 115 is still with us.
Are they going to go into the fueling area now?
I don't know yet, let me tell you.
Yeah, that was an observation.
No, I think he's going to go straight back into the race.
So that, for me, that indicates for me then that car is fueled to do the final 1 hour and 12 minutes that we've got left in this race. So they're all done.
Yeah, would seem
barring
so.
any further punctures,
well,
of course.
indeed.
As I think will anybody who made 2 pit stops during that last Code 60. The Code 60 itself was 13 minutes long, and so that's just enough for 2 laps if you happen to be in the right place on the circuit.
Yes.
And you could get in and do the refueling, so it's a bit of a tall order. You'll lose some time through doing the 2 stops, but clearly Manthey got very lucky indeed with the timing of it, managed to get in, do their 2 stops and stay ahead of the Lamborghini.
A few mentions. Sarah Rigby is back with us. Matt Griffin has tweeted. Hello to Matt G down in Australia. He's been with us for a while. Adrian Michael Rees broke away for a few hours shut-eye. He will be more committed for Le Mans. Good show, Adrian. And poor Alan Enderpay. Alan's been in bed for 22 hours watching the Dubai 24 hours. He can't get up. He thinks his legs may be broken. And he's asking for advice, and also he'd like to thank his friends and family for the support they've given him and not giving up on him. Well, I'm sorry, mate. It's for life. It's not something that you just... It's not a phase you're going through. This is a passion that you're going to have for the rest of your life.
I think if he listens to post-race tech, he'll find that his legs suddenly get better, and after he's listened to all of that, he'll be able to get up.
Will he?
Right. Amazing.
But then until the next one, where he'll find himself bedridden again. Yeah, for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
That's just the natural healing ability of a 24-hour race, isn't it? You might feel crocked throughout it, but all of a sudden you get the power of movement. A little over 24 hours from the start.
The Lamborghini, what happened was, I'm trying to piece this together, much longer pit stop for the Lamborghini. Only made 1 stop, but it was a much longer one, and that must have been because it had to queue up for fuel, because everybody wanted to get fuel during that Code 60. It's not over yet, of course, still got more than an hour to run, but by my reckoning, the Lamborghini, the 964 car, now back into 3rd place in the race, losing time, queuing up for fuel, and also it still has to make another stop because I don't think it has enough fuel on board to get it to the finish.
when you're tweeting to @RSL_studio, make sure you include the hashtag #ThisIsEndurance, and also if you're wanting to contribute to either the post-race tech show at the end of our race coverage, and remember, the end of the race is merely the start of our debrief, of our post-mortem, of our conversation after yet another massively entertaining and incident-packed Dubai 24 hours. If you want to get involved with post-race tech, make sure you include the hashtag D24PRT, D24PRT, and we're still taking your nominations for the Spirit of the Race Award, hashtag D24SOTR for those. 777's race number starting to peel back now on that right-hand side. It's not the first time we've seen that happen on a race car. I seem to remember 7 days ago, 1 or 2 of the prototypes losing their numbers. Such is the pace they rattle around this 5.3-kilometre circuit. So that car being driven now by Mohammed bin Saud, and he could be good to the finish now. Been on board for nearly 15 minutes, and there's a mere 68 minutes still to go till the flag.
Let's just bring you up to date with what's happening in the TCE race. We've still got number 130 of Jean-Carl Vernet now at the wheel of the Volkswagen Golf GT. He's taken that lead back from... Was that something?
Yes, it
something
was
happening, Johnny.
It was a spin for, I think, the MP Motorsport Mercedes, which is off track over at turn 5, or maybe a bit further around at 6, but on the left of those cars hurtling through there, it was side on to the track, and hopefully therefore that number 19 car can get rolling again. It's Bert de Hoos in the MP Motorsport Mercedes, which has had a little bit of a whoopsie, I think, but now yes, as proved in fact by its sector 1 time, took it over a minute when it should be really a 40-second or 42-second sector split there, but at least Bert has got to the end of that now, so it looks like he's back on the straight and narrow.
You said, Johnny, a moment ago, the 777 in the hands of Mohammed bin Saud. He needs to drive that car because he's still 20 minutes short of his 2-hour minimum driving time in the car. He drove it in the evening yesterday, but left the driving overnight to predominantly Dries van Teur and Christopher Mies. Michael Vergers got in the car in the morning, but bin Saud had a bit more of a lay-in, hasn't yet done the 2 hours that he needs to do. Every car, even in the Pro category, has to have an AM driver, and that AM driver has to do a minimum of 2 hours.
Yes. Which doesn't sound like a lot, but
no,
they always want to do a bit more sometimes, the AM drivers, and Mohammed bin Saud, it's his initiative. Let us remind you, MS7. Mohammed bin Saud, MS, and 7 is his favourite number, considers it to be very, very lucky indeed, and wanted to really run with race number 7. Well, the car's trying to be 77 at the moment, with part of that number panel peeling back, but it is being run as the 777 car.
It's doing its best to be a number 7, isn't it?
Yeah.
Work for Sterling Moss.
We're going to go down to the pit lane very shortly, but Phil Quaife pushing on, 18th position in the GT series for the Race Pro Motorsport Porsche. That car is second now in the 991 AM division, having lost the lead to Glenn Van Parijs at MRS GT Racing. Here is Bruce in the pit lane.
Christian Engelhardt, the 964 Lamborghini, has had a brilliant race apart from that first hour. Was it 2 or 3 punctures?
Yeah, we had 3 punctures at the beginning of the race, which was a big shame. It put us on the back foot for the rest of the race. But we had a good night. We came through cleanly, and good morning also. So now we hope that the tires last for the last hours and minutes. We're in a good position now to finish on the podium.
You certainly are. Mirko Bortolotti at the wheel at the moment. Does he need any more fuel?
And that's the big question at the moment. I think for many cars, the Code 60 didn't come in an ideal moment for us. I think we expect that the Porsche will go through to the end because it has a real good fuel economy and a big fuel cell at the same time, which we don't have in that way. So I think they will go through, but the question is if they had enough fuel in the cell before that to do it. So they came twice on the Code 60, so it's close. And Audi, I think they have to come maybe. But we will see what happens.
But if we take away those 3 punctures, we now can see that the Lamborghini can win a 24-hour race.
It's a tough race, and we did a really, really good job, all of us, with no contacts or anything in the night. I think it would make us proud to bring the Lamborghini on the podium.
Well done. Thank you, Christian.
It was a brave question, that, from Bruce, I thought. Worth asking. I'm not, you know, that's not a criticism of Bruce, of course. It's just, I'm thinking,
that's the journalist on him.
Absolutely, go on, tell us, do you need fuel? No, he was clever not to tell us because he knows that everyone else is listening as well.
Well, yeah, of course, it's not just me and you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And not just the Radio Show Limited audience, it's actually probably most people up and down the pit lane as well, and any sort of sneaky information they can get. But it's interesting that Christian seemingly knows more about the other cars in the race than his own. Paul, is he right or not?
Paul's got his jotter out. He's going to tell us.
Well, it definitely does need more fuel, but
there you go.
the thing I did want to go
Thanks,
through,
Paul.
because
he's just building tension.
Because you mentioned about Bortolotti with the potential Spirit of the Race nomination. Yeah. After 9 laps, the car fell to 66th place, having had a puncture. It then climbed back up to 36th place in a process where it had another puncture. It then had a 3rd puncture and fell back again to 63rd place. Yeah. And then climbed up again from that. So 66th, up to 36, back to 63rd, and now it's up in, well, 2nd or 3rd. It was 2nd, now it's 3rd.
What we really needed to know was, how did they stop getting punctures? What did they do to the car? And I just don't think that early on in the race, it can't have been down to curbs. I mean, despite how many curbs you hit, to have a puncture in the opening for 6 laps.
I'm not aware that the Dubai Autodrome is really hard. The curbing is really harsh. Usually there's lots of places, Paul, where you have to use the curbs. One that comes to mind immediately, turn 2, you come out of 1 and you clobber the curb on the apex of 2, and then you go through the sweeps of 3 and 4, then you clobber the curb at 5, you clobber the curb at 6, into the braking area for 7.
Somebody said to, I think it was to you, was it Martin Braybook said to you that the curbs are strange here? And I think you've got to learn how you can use them, and whether it's the distance between the serrations or something. But no, it is strange. I'm with Johnny. I think they did change something on the setup, and
Bruce actually concurring with that in my ears as well. There's been some adjustment to camber, effectively.
Do I remember, or did I dream it, that they had, during a pit stop, they had tweaked the suspension and did a probably by eyesight setup change? Or am I just dreaming that?
I can't remember. You were in the, you weren't in the pits.
I was only in 2 hours this morning. It was much early. It was yesterday afternoon.
Or pressures is the other thing. Camber or pressures.
Well, Bruce certainly saw adjustment suspension-wise, camber-wise, after the 2nd puncture. That wouldn't necessarily explain the 3rd then. So maybe that was a pressure, mistake or. Something that, again, the key to this race is you've got to push the envelope as far as you think it is possible to do. It is that close between GT3s these days, and the balance of performance brings them even closer. Any slight advantage you can build into the race, you want to try and go for it, but obviously they've gone a bit too far at GRT Grasser.
1 hour to go.
It is 1 hour to go. We're at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Yeah, 1 o'clock in the afternoon here in the Middle East. The Dubai Autodrome, the venue. This place came into being in October 2004, and 2 years after that, the first ever Dubai 24 Hours was held in 06. And this is the 13th running of this fabulous event that seems to grow interest and grow categories, cars, and also brand new drivers venturing into the challenge that is the Dubai 24 Hours in 2018. So 1 hour to go. You're tuned to RS1, part of the Radio Show Limited network, and the final hour is live trackside in just a moment. 578 laps completed for Jelmer Berman driving the Black Falcon Mercedes. That car has got rather fragile brakes now, and Jelmer, I think, having to just ease his driving style, maybe use the engine to brake the car into the hard braking areas at turns 1 as well.
is going to make it to the second place.
You've had a very good race as well.
Yeah, everything was working good. I was the silver driver, so I had to drive the most. But everything was going good. As I said, race pace was pretty nice. In qualifying, we were struggling a bit. But then the race pace was really, really nice. The guys did a great job. So, really, really good.
Now, you might be a silver, but when it comes to driving around the Nürburgring in a production car, you're a platinum, mate. Are you the fastest guy ever around the Nürburgring in a road car?
Exactly. I mean, Stefan Bellof was the fastest ever in a race car. And for the moment, the GT2 RS and me is the fastest combination on the Nürburgring. So it's cool, and I hope it stays like this.
And do you actually work for Porsche as a development driver? You're a full-time employee of Porsche?
Exactly. I'm an employee. I'm not a race driver. So I think that's the difference between me and the other guys here.
Interesting. Well done. Oh, I'd love to sit next to you around the Nürburgring. That would be something else.
Yeah, for sure. Just give me a call.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Hey, not talked to him before, supercar.
The phone
is indeed.
The phone is ringing off the hook. Get his number, Andrew.
Looks like you've got yourself a date there, Andrew, and I'm sure many people will be in the queue to try and get in the back seats of a Cayenne or something similar, Panamero that Lars Kern has Panamero is the word I'm trying to look
How about
for.
a Dodge Grand Caravan around the Nordschleife for them?
I'm not sure it's what part of the Porsche family, but Lars Kern might have the right sort of phone number, yes.
Yeah.
Is that the one that we had at
yes.
Coda?
Yeah.
Yes, which I compared to a Galleon, more like more than a road car. It's a
She Adam got it on the limit, didn't she?
Yeah, a significantly large people carrier, and it certainly needs to be thrown on its door handles to get quick around Kota, and I'm sure very similar at the Nürburgring. Koroyz's BMW heading back out, Andrew Ranier.
Yes, those that are going to vote for the spirit of the race. Well, what a valiant effort from the veteran Dutchman. Got the car going again, and there it goes, out of my sight. And hopefully it will get to the finish now without any problem.
Fingers crossed. Same might not be said for the 908 Peugeot 308 Racing Cup car. The two Altron machines were running together on the timing screen, and Lionel Amrouche now with an opportunity finally to get the 908 the 308 to stretch its legs on the 908. It was the 908 that's been catching the Olivier Baron car, but now some drama for the 6th place TCE series machine. Mirko Bortolotti now into 2nd place because the Manthey Racing Porsche has stopped ahead of it, but we reckon, well, Paul Troswell reckons that Lamborghini still needs to come in the remaining 44 minutes for a splash of fuel.
Yes, a car that doesn't need to... the car that doesn't need to come in again is the number 25 HTP Motorsport, the pink Mercedes, but both of the, in fact all three of the cars in 4th, 5th and 6th I think will need another stop. That's the 777 Mohammed bin Saud WRT Audi, and then the interesting battle that we've been watching for the best part of an hour now between the 16 SPS Automotive, the Jungle Mercedes, and the orange and white Mooker Motorsport Audi. Those cars all need another stop, and of course if we get another code 60 that would be an ideal time to do so. The reason we were hearing from somebody a little while ago why they said that the code 60 wasn't ideally timed was that it came just at the time they wanted to put a full tank of fuel in, and because the code 60 only allowed them to put half a tank in, it kind of left them short for the final dash, unless they could get round and get in twice.
The 908 car has got back to the pits. It was Lionel Amrouche driving it, a name far more familiar with the GC Automobile car that used to run in this category and was latterly known as Vortex, and Amrouche then being hired by the Team Altron Peugeot crew to drive one of their 308 Racing Cup cars, powered by a 1600cc supercharged engine. But the rule makers in the TCR category allowed those cars in, I think last year or the year before, and it's good to bolster the TCR field yet further. 15 cars on the entry, 14 actually started this race after big problems for the Bonk Motorsport 127 earlier on in the week, and they've supplied a superb race. It's taken a while for the TCR cars to get ahead of the SP3s, but it's now TCR first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. Where's the next car? SP3 is the Simon Murray machine, so that's seventh in the TCE race, ahead of the Cup 1 car, the Hoffer Racing, powered by Bonk Motorsport BMW of Michael Fisher. The 131 car to Andrew Marriott once again in the pit lane.
Well, hot off the press, Grasser Racing is definitely going to make a pit stop. Just look at the picture behind me. There is Rolf Einashin, and he is ready to get in the car. The team just down here, Seb, are preparing the tyres. So that Lamborghini will have to make the stop. We can have a very late change for second place.
Yeah, with Mathieu Jaminet chasing down the Lamborghini, knowing full well that Mirko Bortolotti will have to stop once more. We got 41 minutes to go, Joe.
And we've got that battle for fifth place recommencing between the number 16 Mercedes and the number 9 Audi. We saw these two cars battle it out, and then the Audi was penalised, as was the Mercedes, because of track limits, and that put the Audi about 50 seconds behind. Well, the Mucker Motorsport Audi has now clawed back, and the gap is down to under 10 seconds last time by. The Mercedes of the SPS team, that's the green livery, the jungle livery, has just crossed the line there to complete 578 laps, and now across the line goes the Krista Johns Mercedes. He's got the gap down to 7.7 seconds, Johnny. He's taken about just under 2 seconds out of him that time by, so within a few laps, within a few minutes indeed, we're going to have a battle again for 5th and 6th. Same cars, different drivers. Dominic Baumann now at the wheel of the 16, Krista Johns now at the wheel of the number 9. We look forward to watching that one develop.
And on the live stream, enjoying Krista Jörns pilot this BWT Mucker Motorsport Audi, the number 9 car. We'll just allow him to be our chauffeur as Paul tells us what.
Yeah, I just wanted to quiz Joe, because he was looking out of the window when the 9 and the 16 took their time penalties. Are we sure they did stop in the penalty box and do their penalties? Did you see them do it?
I didn't see that. What I saw was them on the apron, and I presumed, because that's what we've seen. Now, I know you've got an option here, haven't you? You've got an... I presume so, Paul, because the Audi was penalised a minute and the Mercedes penalised 30 seconds. Now, depending on how we then went about our pit stop, when they came out of that pit stop phase, having what we presumed was the penalties also, we had a 50-second gap, and that's kind of worked out. Yeah.
All I'm thinking is that the penalties were actually assessed within the last 2 hours. They were assessed after midday, and there is this rule within Creventic racing that penalties within the last 2 hours don't have to be served. They merely get added onto your race time at the end of the race. And we've seen this before in Creventic races, where we have to keep right on top of the penalties that are being worked out to go onto the final result sheet rather than being taken in the pit lane.
Do you know what the thinking behind that is? Because for me, and I've had this discussion with Creventic people, with Kerry, if you make it obligatory that you have to serve those penalties, so you've got a car there that's got a 30-second penalty waiting in the wings, you're going to then, the tension of seeing that car having to pull into the pits, soak up that penalty, it's visual, you see it, rather than just leaving it to the end of the race, where you then, provisional standings, and then an hour later you'll see where that car is actually finished. Yeah, I think it's from our point of view, it makes a much more exciting finish to see that penalty have to be served before the flag.
I do agree. The reason they do it that way is because of they don't serve penalties as a special stop. You'll serve a penalty at your next pit stop. Within the last 2 hours, you may not have a next pit stop, and so depending what you've done and when you've done it, you either kind of may or may not have another pit stop, and then that could be seen as being unfair. I do see exactly your point, though.
But if you've got a penalty, you don't have to pit stop. You just have to come in and serve the penalty.
But that then penalises you more than the penalty, because you have to run down the pit lane.
Then we're going to have a discussion over
Yeah,
dinner
no,
with Gary, aren't we?
clearly they've had that at Creventic as well.
Yeah.
The time added to your race time post-race wouldn't include a run through the pit lane then?
No, because you're going to do the run through the pit lane anyway, because you serve your penalty during a normal pit stop.
Right, well, it's no-brainer then, isn't it?
Well,
if you've got a 20-second penalty to serve, it's clearly going to take you longer than 20 seconds to do it in reality.
Yeah.
You just take the 20 seconds at the end.
yeah, but that's my point. Yes, and the reason, as Paul has explained, the reasons why it's the last 2 hours is because within the last 2 hours, there's some of the cars will not need to pit with 2 hours to go. So they're not going to get the opportunity to serve that penalty, so you're going to add it on at the end. What I'm saying is, it's a penalty. It's there to disadvantage you. So, if you are unfortunate enough or silly enough to incur a penalty within the last 2 hours, then suck it up. You're going to have to come in the pits and serve it. And from our point of view, reporting that and televising that can you remember that this happened at Mugello 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Where we had I think it was the Renault that won.
The Renault RS01, yes.
If we'd had the penalty served in front of us, the tension on those final 2 laps would have been just awesome to watch. And you've still got to, and from a driver's point of view, you've still got to come into the pits. You've still got to slow the car down. You've still got to press pedals and turn wheels and make the judgments into the penalty box. Don't overshoot the penalty box. All of that just builds tension. That's our business, Johnny. Entertainment.
But even more, the problem there was that actually the Renault won by over a lap. So even when you added the post-race penalty on, it didn't detract at all from the Renault because it was locked in to a lap more than everybody else. So you could have given it 3 minutes of a penalty. It still finished a lap ahead of everyone. We did have that discussion with Gary, in fairness.
Yeah, we did.
It was food for thought for him. We'll keep pushing. The great thing about Creventic is they're open to discussion. It's not just them preaching to their customers to say, this is how we do it, like it or lump it. You know, there is an active conversation there to be had. 590 laps done. Jelmer Berman in the Black Falcon Mercedes out front. Mirko Bortolotti is in, and this is the splash then for the GRT Grasser Racing team. Andrew Marriott told us that they were preparing down at the Austrian outfit. Let's hand to Andy now to oversee this final stop for car 964.
Yeah, the bright green car from the Austrian team rolls, of course, on that must feel so slow. Speed limiter turns in, heading straight towards me, just goes past my toes and stops right on the mark. Rolf Kinaschen is about to get in with his green helmet and his green boots. And Mirko Bortolotti, what a star he's been, straps him in. The boys go to work, the last set of hand coops going on. The German rubber, which is, of course, Korean company, but made in Germany. And Bortolotti comes past me. I'm obviously going to tag him in just a moment, let him take his crash helmet off. But he has been absolutely stellar here.
And very close behind it, Andrew, comes Krista Jørns in the Muka Motorsport Audi R8, car number 9. This is stopping from 6th position. And remember, we've got a real fight for 5th place as well, but this may bring that fight to an end now, depending on where the 16 car is on strategy. The Audi's gone straight to fuel, so that's for a splash and doesn't need any other service. No new tyres, no driver change, just a top up of fuel. So Krista Jørns got to within 3.5 seconds of Dominic Baumann in the SPS Automotive Performance Mercedes. That's the battle for 5th and 6th, remember. The SPX leader doing tremendously well. Tsunami RT of Ukraine leading the way in SPX, and Andriy Kruklik still doing the driving in car 37. Mirko Bortolotti speaks now to Andrew Marriott.
Hold on a second, he's just given me the slip. He was coming with me, and then he's going to talk to the team.
OK. Stand by your beds, then. He's coming back now to pit lane, Andy.
Mirko. He's looking at the timing at the moment, and who can blame him for that? And he'll probably put a cap. He's taking a bit of water on. Mirko, can I grab you?
Andrew working very hard there to get the Italian on air. Don't worry, just shout up as soon as you've got him. Sounds like he's taking on some well-deserved H2O just to cool him down a little bit. And we're now raring to go for Bortolotti.
Well, Mirko, what a stellar performance by you and the team. Unbelievable to come back from, I think it was 75th position, right up onto a podium, and then fighting for second place right in the closing stages. And now your eyes are showing how hard you worked.
Thank you very much, first of all. I'm really proud of the team, everyone. We did a massive job. It's a shame for the bad luck we had at the beginning of the race. It cost us 5 laps. Now we are 2 or 3 laps down, so there you see what could have been. But it's not over yet. We still have half an hour. Let's see what can happen. But for sure, the finish second would be a massive result already.
When you go back to the workshop after it's all over, will you think that you've been too aggressive at the start on the camber on the front because you had those 2 punctures, or was it just one of those things?
It was one of those things. And to be honest, when we get back to the workshop, we have already to think about the next race.
Absolutely. Well, you've been a brilliant performer. Well done. I think probably the race of your life.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well, I pushed really hard. Everybody did. So, yeah, we can be proud. But we still have half an hour to go. Let's see what we can bring home. Podium would be great, considering what happened at the beginning. But at the same time, also disappointing because we know that we could have had the chance to fight for the win. It is how it is. We are here fighting for P2, which is great, so we can be happy.
Mirko, it's never over until the fat lady sings.
Thank you.
So they say, and Mirko Bortolotti, still only 28, he has got a big future, you sense, in this event in future years, whether he stays with Lamborghini or moves perhaps to another manufacturer, but he seems well at home with GRT Grasser Racing Team. Andrew?
Yeah, you probably remember him racing in the UK. He dominated Jonathan Palmer's Formula 2 season, didn't he? About, 7 or 8 years back, I suppose.
It was exactly 7 years now that we're into 2018. Yes, in 2001 he's done some Euro Cup Megane Trophy racing as well in those silhouette type cars, and the Megane Trophy, remember, was the preceder to the Renault RS01 Trophy. We've got a couple of those cars in this race, but winner of the 2013 Megane Trophy, championship winner in the Blancpain Endurance Cup last year, and the 2011 FIA Formula 2 Championship as well. So really talent, 28-year-old Mirko Bortolotti.
He's one of the hot shots that we have here this weekend, isn't he?
He certainly is.
Yeah.
Well, we kind of knew that, and GRT don't hire slouches, should we say, particularly in their A6 Pro car. We always know that's going to be a strong lineup, and Lamborghini in its debut actually won the Blancpain Endurance Opener in Italy at Monza, so tremendous car that. I think that was my car of the year from a couple of years back.
It hasn't obviously all been down to Mirko Bortolotti.
No.
The Rolf and Mark Einichen is they're no slouches, and then you've been backed up by Christine Engelhardt. That's a pretty strong lineup. Very few weaknesses there in that lineup, and that's purely why that car has been able to regain from 75th, dropping back with 2 rear axle punctures on, I think, the rear left every time, all 3, and then to be at the moment holding on to that podium position, albeit by just 1.3 seconds, holding off the Manthey Porsche. Now we have got a battle across the line next time by. There is the number 12, the Grasser Racing Team car number 963 with Mauro Calamia at the wheel of that car, but all eyes on the battle for second on the same lap. We've got a 4-lap deficit before we then, a 4-lap advantage for the leading number 2 Mercedes, leading by 4 laps. They are due and are going to be owing us a pit stop. Jelmer Berman has been in that car now for 1 hour and 43 minutes coming up to. So with 27.5 minutes remaining, he's not going to be allowed to stay in that car to the finish. And it's in the pits. Must have been hearing me.
There we go.
Must have been listening.
Jelmer Berman is in. We'll hand to Andrew Marriott to report on the stop in a second. Don't forget, we're looking for your Spirit of the Race nominees. Still tallying up who you think has won the spirit of the race for the 13th running of the Dubai 24 Hours, the Hankook Dubai 24 Hours here on the Radio Show Limited network. So stick it in a tweet, address it to @RSL_studio and put in the hashtag D24 SOTR, D24 SOTR, and also looking for your post-race tech discussion topics. Again, tweeting is the way to get involved. Hashtag D24PRT, D24PRT. Here is Andrew with the race leader making a stop.
Indeed, yes, and that stop's almost over. Abdullah Aziz has got in the car. He'll take it to the finish. Abdullah Aziz now Faisal, winner, of course, in 2015, looking to make it a second victory here at the race. And now quite a lot of his friends down here, all in their dish dashes, immaculately lauded, all of them, and they're pretty excited by his performance. But I'm going to dive in and see if I can get hold of Yelma.
OK, we'll grab a word with Yelma Berman very shortly indeed. An opportunity to see what, from a short moment ago, a very close run for the number 12 Porsche heading into turn 14. There may have even been contact with the 33 car collection Audi. I think it was just avoided. Almost rear right wheel interlocking with the Audi's front left wheel. No, there wasn't a touch, but there very nearly was for the rear of Mathieu Jaminet's Manthey Racing Porsche. And who's at the wheel of the number 33 Audi? It's Isaac Tatumlu Lopez of Spain, who tried to stay out of the way. In fact, both car collection Audis have found one another, and then Jaminet had a real job to get past the 34 as well. The 34 did it a favour because it whacked that bit of debris out of the way so that Jaminet could head through turn 15 untroubled. Just shows, though.
It just shows how hard he's pushing, Johnny.
Well, it also, but it's
really pushing.
It also shows, you know, you've got this great position at the moment of third place, obviously duking it out with the 964 now Rolfin Eichen driven Lamborghini Huracan, and you're that close to disaster in every corner, you could argue. It's
still not over, is it? 25 minutes remaining. Like I always say, I think sat here we become a little bit complacent of what we see happening out on the track, but it comes down to people pressing pedals and turning steering wheels.
Here's a chance to catch up with Yelma Berman from the number 2 car.
Yeah, Yelma, very much a family man now. You got out of the car, you went over to your wife and young daughter, gave them a quick kiss and a cuddle, and now you're talking to me. Bad luck.
Yeah, that's right. They just arrived while I was out, so they landed last night, so I hadn't seen them before. So that was priority, sorry.
What a fantastic run you've had, but now I have to ask you, can you watch the last half an hour, or what are you going to do?
No, that's always so difficult. I think I'm going to have a quick shower to kill some time. And I mean, the car is in good hands of Aziz. Abdulaziz Al Faisal will hopefully cross the finish line with it. And yeah, looking forward to that.
Okay, I'm not going to give you the commentator's curse at all, but just want to ask you, has this race been tougher than when you won the race before?
Yes, it has. It's like I said before, I think there haven't been so many crashes in the beginning, so there were a lot more cars in the night. And the night is always difficult because, you know, not everyone sees the lines as well, and in the end cars are all over the place, so you always have to be careful, but it's a great race.
Great race, Yelma, thanks very much. Go and get that shower.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yelma Berman, sideways for the MP Motorsport Mercedes there, the number 19 car, now being driven by Henk de Jong, and that car 8th in A6 AM, but again a little bit wayward for that red, black and white car. How did Henk get to that position? Let's have a look. Now, there was an Audi off track. Oh, that was the 777 car of Mohammed Al Saud, and sorry, Bin Saud Al Saud, I should say. He is the MS in MS7, and that was the treble 7 then having the off-track moment. I'm not sure whether Henk de Jong was then involved with that. No, it appears these are two separate problems, one for the 19 Mercedes and one for Mohammed Bin Saud at the wheel of the 777 Audi, which has now stopped, and this is the 4th placed car, having done 589 laps, and we've got drama here for the 777 car with Dominic Baumann and Krista Jørns not that far away. Well, Baumann's got to make up 3 laps, Jørns 4 laps, and the Audi has ground to a halt. It's certainly showing signs here of being in a very long race, 23 plus hours. And Mohammed Bin Saud,
he's rolling, Johnny.
He's rolling again. He's off the track sensibly. found some drive from that 5.2 litre V10, but it's spitting out bits of, actually shreds of Hankook tyre, not from the Audi, but from the tyre pickup that's built up overnight. He's
staying off the track. He's got the car rolling again. He's gotten a fairly good pace there, but he's staying off track. He's staying on the side of the track, and he's picking up all kinds of rubbish.
And of course, that means as well that he's not happy with the car. He's got it stuck in a gear. I wonder if it's a gearbox problem, and it's stuck in a particular gear, and he can't shift up or down. The other thing to draw attention to is the tightness of the battle for second place. Although I have to say that Rolf Ineichen seems to have the legs at the moment of Mathieu Jaminet. They were just 2 seconds apart on the previous lap when they came through. Now it's up to 6 seconds with a much faster lap put in by Rolf Ineichen on that last lap, but just 6 seconds separating those two. This is going to go down all the way to the wire now, because they are both fully fueled and should be able to get to the flag on the fuel they have at the moment. But it means that when the Lamborghini came in, they only put in enough fuel. They didn't put in its full allowance. They just put in enough to get it to the flag, and let's hope they've got the calculations done right, because the longer they've spent at the refueling pumps, the more time it's going to have cost them. So drama for the 777, a pretty close battle indeed for second and third. What more do you want?
Is that a puncture, guys? We can now see the left-hand side of the car.
Well, Andrew's down in the garage of 777, the MS17. What have you learned so far, Andy?
Well, I'm just talking to Pierre Didonnet, who I missed name change during the middle of the night. Maybe Pierre, just tell you think you've got a gearbox problem.
Yes, it's some gearbox issue. So we bring him into the pit, and we change driver, because we need a driver who is completely familiar with the procedure of the gearbox. We don't know. It may be just a software problem, and maybe the gearbox has put itself in safe mode. So we need to put someone in the car who knows completely the procedures, and then we'll see.
It's never over until it's over.
No, never.
Thank you, Pierre Didon.
Pierre Didonnet of...
Mixed him up with another former Belgian racing.
That's quite all right. Through the night, it's very tricky to remember anybody's name. What's yours again?
What's that?
Bradders. Joe Bradley.
Oh, sorry.
No, sorry, I'm just making a comment that Andrew Marriott struggled with Pierre Didonnet's name overnight, but I struggle to remember sometimes anyone sitting next to me, frankly, so it's that fatigue that we all suffer, whether you're a racing driver, an engineer, or indeed a commentator. And well done to everyone at home, or wherever you may be around the world, for staying up this long if you've managed to do it without sleep. Only another 19 minutes to go here on RS1, part of the Radio Show Limited Network, one of so many endurance races we're going to be bringing to you live trackside through 2018. So the 777 car, though moving, has now come to a halt again. This is on the inside of turn 14, and it's parked up on the curb. The fourth placed car, 589 laps, nearly 590 laps completed, but Dominic Baumann continues to circulate at speed. What's happening now, Joe?
He's trying to get the car moving. It's on the inside of the curve at, did you say 14, Johnny? And I'm not sure whether he's unable to get the car moving, whether he's had a complete failure in the drivetrain, or whether he's trying to pick his moment to move back onto the track. Now from 14, he needs to get across from the inside of the track to the outside of turn 14, which will then put him on the inside of turns 15 and 16, and then he can get back down onto the pit lane.
It's already a disaster, though, Joe.
Absolutely.
He's lost so much time already, and we know the car's going to be banned for the pits. Dominic Baumann has yet to go on to the lap on which Mohammed bin Saud is already on, but nevertheless, Dominic Baumann just now coming round onto the start-finish straight now. But it's already too late. So that's 4th place in the offing, and what was really Audi's kind of consolation prize, with the only one remaining then, is the battle which is going on between Dominic Baumann and Christy Jörns.
Yeah, which has become a battle for 4th, Paul.
Exactly so. But into the pits comes Dominic Baumann for more fuel.
Oh.
So the Jungle Mercedes needs more fuel. And so he slows down to 40 kilometers an hour.
Now the 777 has gotten moving, and he stops. Has he got? There's something wrong. Has he got suspension failure or something, or is it just the uneven track?
No, I think it's just the uneven track where he's up on the ramps there.
He's kind of got the right hand front wheel is got air underneath it. Hard to judge what the problem is. He just can't get that car to move, can he? He cannot get that car to move. He's still on the inside of turn 14. He's in the off track, well off the track. He's not causing anybody on the track any issues, and it looks like a complete and utter drivetrain failure. Absolute tragedy. 16.5 minutes of this race remains, and the number 777 Audi MS7 by WRT, Mohammed bin Saud, has now got the safety team joining him. So a decision has been made that that car does need recovering.
So let's find out.
He got it moving.
Yes.
He got the wheels spinning, and then for some reason,
it's got caught.
He's driven over something. He's driving on the polystyrene marker board.
Yeah.
It's now beached itself on the polystyrene marker board. Can you remember me saying to you, Johnny, that those bits of polystyrene won't cause any problems whatsoever? It's beached himself. I'm wondering if the wheels are just spinning in the air. Well done, TV, for spotting that. I couldn't quite see what you were trying to tell me, but then you've managed to do that.
It's stuck. The polystyrene block actually stuck under the front axle. That's a rear-wheel drive car, but the problem is it's trying to go uphill as well, and that's a significant incline. I know we talk about this place being flat as a pancake, but it does go up and down in certain areas. And turn 14, the exit of that is definitely uphill. So the Audi is trying to get power through those rear Hankooks and basically run it over the polystyrene and back onto the track. What maybe Mohammed bin Saud needs to do is stick it in reverse and try and get off the polystyrene block that way. But the recovery crew is now on scene, the area being covered by yellow flags, and it looks like that Audi's going to be towed back to the pit lane. A little bit of is that fire extinguisher smoke coming from from the back of the pickup? Anyway, not related to the Audi, I don't think. So no further drama. Cars coming past in very good order, I have to say. There was a big bundle of cars all together, and I think there was a slow one in the front, but they were very well behaved, very well disciplined, and all slowed down, and no overtaking, at least that I saw, was done. But it was a bit of a heart-in-mouth moment. So Dominic Baumann, meanwhile, has come into the pits in the number 16 car, which would have been able to go through and take that 4th place from the 777 car, had it have stayed out there and gone round. Lance David Arnold is going to have that honour, because he's taken the car over from Dominic Baumann. So Lance David Arnold got some fuel, is now on his way, and is now driving round in order to get round the circuit and overtake the 777 Mohammed bin Saud for 4th place. And he'll take with him Christy Jörns in the Muka Motorsport Audi, the orange and white car, which is just coming down through turns 14, 15 now, putting himself onto the same lap as the other Audi. So the orange and white Muka Motorsport Audi looks like not only will it pick up a place, but it'll also inherit the honour of best placed Audi. But best placed Audi in 5th place is not really what the Ingolstadt mark expected or wanted when they came to Dubai this year. Just noticed the race leader, number 2, and the 964 Rolf Eichen car running very close to one another, and actually at 12 is just up the road from the 964. So the 964 is trying to unlap itself, I reckon, and the gap is 2.9 seconds between Rolf Eichen's Lamborghini and Mathieu Jaminet. Here's Andrew Marriott in the pit lane. Go ahead, Andrew. I think trying to get an update on the 777 car Is Mohammed bin Saud trying to get out, or is he just trying to cool the cockpit area down? I'm not sure, but waving at the marshals, trying to get some instruction now. Is it free of that polystyrene block? It looks like the Audi is now.
Yes, it is.
And it's being towed rearward, away from turn 14. They're looking for a gap in the traffic. Now, where is Lance David Arnold? Now ahead of the 777, and it also Krista Jørns gains a position as well. And Krista Jørns, now Lance David Arnold's just had a pit stop for SPS Automotive Performance. The Muka Motorsport car sniffing possibly a 4th place finish here, on board with Krista now, the former Bentley driver, and the number 9 car in the Muka Motorsport orange and white. This is Muka's first ever 24-hour race. They might yet be able to get into the top 4, but there's 22 seconds separating Jørns and Arnold.
And to add further drama, that battle that you were talking about, battle on the track, not a battle in fact, with the leading Black Falcon Mercedes, Al Faisal, has the real battle for 2nd place, kind of all around him.
Yes.
And he's going to have to be so careful that he doesn't get involved in that.
I think he's done the sensible thing,
he's
actually.
Just pulled over and let them through.
He's allowed Rolf in Eichen pass, knowing that Rolf is well and truly fired up, who's hunting down Mathieu Jaminet.
Well, that was always going to be the best advice under the circumstances, and so it's still this great battle on for 2nd place. While we've got the drama of the 777 car, the equal drama of a battle on the circuit for 2nd place between Mathieu Jaminet and Rolf in Eichen. Who would you put your money on out of those two in the... We know it's quick, it's the fastest car on the circuit, set the fastest lap earlier on in the hands of Mirko Bortolotti, the Lamborghini, and the Manthey Porsche, which has also got 23 and 50 minutes on its clock of this race.
Joe's got his head in his hands here. What's happened now with the Audi?
777 was allowed, or was there an Audi? What am I looking at? Yes, here we go. We're going to have a look at the replay. It's gotten released, it's gotten drive, it's now heading out of the turn 15 down to, there's the pit entrance, but there's 2 cars, so he pulls to the right, almost contacts, couldn't quite see what car he'd almost contacted, but he almost took out 2 cars as he tried to get the car back across and into the pit lane. He's into the pit lane and heading towards Andrew Marriott now.
Yes. Andrew, I'm sure, is with the 777. This has been such a long period of time to get the MS7 Audi in, but it's now reached its pit box, Andrew Marriott. So Andy is very close indeed to the Audi. But so we will get to Andrew just as soon as we can, and the Audi is now going to do, by the looks of things, a driver change. Or are they going to keep Mohammed bin Saud in utter frustration as Mohammed steps away now? He's helped the next driver in, and they were on course for a top 4 finish in the MS7 by WRT crew. But the most... Well, first of all, there was the drive issue, and then the really simple problem of being caught on a polystyrene block. I mean, these are phenomenally high-tech, these cars, and something as simple as that. But what can you do? The thing sits on basically an island of polystyrene and requires a tow back to the garage. It's back in the race now. It's slipped to 6th position, though, and Mohammed bin Saud still being called.
Either they've forgotten to change the driver ID in all the fuss, but I would be highly surprised if that is still Mohammed.
I think it was Mohammed actually slamming the door shut in pure frustration. The Audi's still not up to race speed, I'm afraid. It's looking very slow indeed. And where's the next car then that might overtake it? The Tsunami RT Porsche, which is the SPX leader, Andrei Kruglik, driving the 37. And look at the 777. This is just, well, horrendous, isn't it, for the MS7 crew?
I think it's stuck in gear, isn't it? He's stuck in about 2nd gear. And he's gone out, and he's got 8 minutes now, Johnny. He's got 8 minutes to tootle round, causing everyone a huge problem because he's going so slow now. 4 laps, Paul reckons. So 4 laps, he's going to be tootling round, stuck in gear by all accounts. Has Andrew got any information for us, Johnny?
Yeah, just well.
Oh goodness,
we're all getting pretty tired at this point. Everyone's trying to avoid the Audi 777, but also batteries get rather tired as well. You've had a fresh set installed, Andrew. What can you tell us about the Audi? Andrew Marriott with an update, raring to go with the 777 Audi. I think maybe trying to grab a word with Mohammed bin Saud, actually. I don't think he's in the mood for chatting, but...
Might be able to give us some insight, though, Johnny, if it's looking very much like it's stuck in gear. Mohammed bin Saud might be able to confirm that.
So the 964 car, there it is, through turn 11. Jumping over the curbs, and Rolf Eichen is driving the wheels off this car, trying to chase that red and white Porsche with their headlights flashing. Manthey Racing's Mathieu Jaminet is certainly not short of speed, but Jaminet with lots of traffic to try and deal with as well. He's got not a moment to lose here, knowing that the bright green Lamborghini Huracan is hunting it down for a place a step higher on the podium. It's got third at the moment as the Lambo that was troubled by 3 punctures earlier on in the race. Can it get as high as second? Mathieu Jaminet is going to be sticking the elbows out. You can be assured of that. We're into the final 7 minutes of this race. And are we going to get a positional change for the podium in the final 3 or 4 minutes?
I think it's going to be a tall order, Johnny, because the problem is traffic for Rolf Eichen. He's got 4 cars, I think, between himself and Mathieu Jaminet. If he had a clear run at him, I think he might be able to use the Lamborghini a bit more, use its power a bit more ably. But he's got those cars in front of him, the slower cars in front of him. He's got to dodge around those. And whilst he's dodging around those, Jaminet has got a clear track to hair off into the distance. So great battle between these two in the closing hour, really, of this race, and it was all defined by what happened during the final code 60 when the Lamborghini had to queue up for fuel and lost about 30 seconds whilst it waited in the line for the fuel at the end of the final code 60.
By the way, you're missing nothing in the TCE race. The Golf, driven by Jean-Carl Vernet, is being driven very swiftly indeed. The Liqui Moly Team Exler car. It's at turn 12 now. And the 129 Willem Meyer LMS Racing Seat way back at turn 7. And there's actually a lap between them as well. So that's looking more and more certain now for the Volkswagen Golf, that is missing 4th gear, remember, in that gearbox, but they're managing, Jean-Carl Vernet, along with co-pilots, able to drive around that issue. It's got a sequential box on the Golf, and it hasn't caused a massive problem for car 130. 129 is second then in the TCE race, but they are TCR cars as well. And third place in TCE is the Herman Bock Audi from Bonk Motorsport, number 115. That is ahead of the Lap 57 Motorsports Audi. 4th place in TCR and the TCE race. And the Team Altron Peugeot, Olivier Baron's 308 Racing Cup car, is 5th. Best of the Cup 1 BMWs is Michael Fischer for the Hoffa Racing squad. Their BMW M235i leading Yannick Mettler. So 131 ahead of 151. And the A2 class is still led by Frank Bird, as making another pit stop, the 777 Audi. Perhaps not a great deal of surprise about that. It's done a lap almost at code 60 speeds, and everyone's done a tremendous job to avoid it. I'm sure plenty of team managers have been on the radio to say, look out for that moving chicane.
I think what he's doing is he's going through the pit lane in order to reset the driver ID on that car, because he went straight past his pit.
964.
Yes.
Out of 7.
Sorry,
just to answer your own question.
Yeah,
yes.
it was Dries van Toor who took the car over, and all he did was drive through the pit lane so that the driver ID would reset itself automatically when it got to pit out, and that's what's happened.
Okay. Top 5 in the GT series. Black Falcons Mercedes, Abdelaziz Al Faisal, he keeps it out of trouble. They win the race. Mathieu Jaminet, far more pressure on the Frenchman's shoulders, because the 12 Manthey Racing Porsche is being hunted down by Rolf Eichen's Lamborghini Huracan. The gap's 5.2 seconds, although Rolf lost time on Jaminet's Porsche last time around. We're on to lap 6:01 now for those two cars, but 6:04 for the race leader, and inside the final 3 minutes we go.
This one and one more lap to go, Johnny.
And that's for the race leader. The
everyone else after that, yes.
Battle for second is just ahead of the race leader, so we're effectively going to get an extra lap for the second place. Well, not a full extra lap, but best part of it.
Well, this number 2 Black Falcon team, not the first time they've been in this position, Johnny. They won this race in 2015 with pretty much the same driver lineup. Abdulaziz Al Faisal, Hubert Habt, Jelmer Berman. In 2015 it was with the Mercedes, the venerable Mercedes SLS AMG, and they were helped out that time by Ollie Webb, British driver, English driver. This time they have the Italian Gabriele Piana, and this time it is the first Dubai 24-hour win, or will be when he crosses the line next time by, for the AMG GT GT3 car, which is
the latest,
a fantastic piece of kit.
Latest iteration of the Mercedes GT3 car. Here's Andrew Marriott in the pit lane.
Yeah, they're climbing up the fence here. There's Saudi Arabian flags waiting to be waved. A lot of the team are actually back in the garage. They're more interested in watching our coverage. Hubert Haupt is just coming out with Jelmer Berman. Let's see if I can get a word with Hubert very quickly. Hubert has won this race once before. Hubert, can I just grab you as you, well, this is going to be your second victory here. How amazing, after a young career where you were an Audi factory driver and now you're winning major endurance races.
Another victory with almost 50. It was a tough race because we had some big problems in the morning. But it was fantastic to win here now, so give us a hand for the last lap.
Go and see your car cross the line.
Very close indeed now, 44 seconds on the clock, and the car is on to its final lap. This is the number 2 Abdulaziz Al Faisal driven Black Falcon car. Black Falcon with a good record in this race, but always with Mercedes SLSs previously. The brand new AMG has proven to be rather fragile in previous years, or certainly last year, and this year as well. We started with so many Mercedes AMGs that could have won the race. They've dropped away, including the Black Falcon sister car, the number 3, which accounted for another AMG in that incident with the number 1 machine. Brakes have been an issue through the course of this event, and it meant that the two crew had to adjust their strategy. But now with P1 flashing on the side of the car, on course for a 4th victory for Black Falcon in the history of this great race, the 13th running of the 24 Hours of Dubai, live here on RS1, part of the Radio Show Limited network, will go the way of Black Falcon and the Mercedes AMG. The first victory in the Dubai 24 Hours for that shape of Mercedes. Over the line it goes, and congratulations to the driving crew: Abdulaziz Al Faisal, Hubert Haupt, Jelmer Berman and Gabriele Piana. The next question is, in what order will the 2nd and 3rd place cars finish? And we're also looking further down the order to see the TCE winner across the line. It's looking for sure to be the Liqui-Moly Team Exler Volkswagen Golf. They've been driving around problems as well. The Mercedes stops right after the pit wall, by the way, and the number 2 car crawls to a halt. I don't think that's anything suspicious about it being so low on fuel. We're still waiting for Mathieu Jaminet and Rolf Eichen to head over the line. The gap is just less than 5 seconds, so Jaminet, if he keeps it neat and tidy through the final sequence of corners, should be absolutely fine, although there's quite a way to go yet for that car. It's Jaminet's car up at 12 and 964 pursuing it. The Golf, meanwhile, is just on the back straight between turns 9 and 10. There is the TCE Series leader, the Liqui-Moly Team Exler Volkswagen Golf. Joe.
We've already had our 2nd place TCR and TCE.
Ah, yes.
2nd place, 2nd step of the podium, the number 129, the LMS Racing by Bascout and Seat, is already crossed the line. He will finish in 2nd place. Willem Meyer is at the wheel of that car. But we are waiting for our TCE Championship winner here.
But Manthey will cross the line first.
Yeah, coming out of turn 16 now, and Matthias Jaminet will seal second position for Manthey Racing. It's Otto Close, Lars Kern and Matthias Jaminet along with Sven Muller. The Golf leading the TCE Series race, the first ever Dubai 24 hours for the TCE Championship, and it's going to be maximum points to kick off their year for Liqui Team Engstler, Jean-Carl Vernet, the 2017 TCR International Series champion, doing a cracking job in his part of the race, and the 130 car, to give them the full name check: Luca Engstler, Florian Thommer, Ben Lauchter and Jean-Carl Vernet crosses the line now. The headlights are ablaze, and Team Engstler up on the wall to go across the line to get the first TCE victory of the 2018 season. We already know that Willem Meyer is locked into second place in the 129 car, so LMS Racing do seal a podium in the TCE race, but miss out on the victory by, in the end, 2 laps. And third position in the TCE race, the 115 Bonk Motorsport Audi RS3, the front-wheel drive booted Audi of Herman Bock, along with Max Partel and Rainer Partel. They did really well, considering it was just a 3-driver lineup in the 115.
That's a VAG Group washout, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Volkswagen.
We'll talk about the German domination of this race in GTs.
Golf, Seat and Audi in TCR. TCR being the primary class in our TCE Championship. Always a tight race. Bodes well for our next 24-hour race in this with Creventic, and that's the Silverstone 24 Hours, which is a TCE Championship race, where we will see the TCR class probably coming to the fore there. Bit of a shame, I thought, the SP3 class runners, mainly Ginettas, falling by the wayside as the race progressed. But hopefully they will get that sorted for when we reconvene in March down at Silverstone.
But I mean, we didn't quite get the full spread of manufacturers in the top 4. Audi with some dramas towards the end. It's 2 Mercedes, first and fourth for Black Falcon and SPS Automotive Performance respectively. So the Jungle Car, a really good run to the finish. Manthey Racing finishing second, and the GRT Grasser Racing Lamborghini third. The gap at the line between the 12 and the 964 just 5.2 seconds. And Andrew Marriott is right beneath the podium to get further reaction after the latest Dubai 24 hours.
I certainly am. Abdullah Aziz gets out of the car, remembers to unplug his radio cord, and he has a big smile on his face. He's going to take his crash helmet off first, gloves off, pretty cool, but of course he's used to this weather. So what a great driver. We used to see him racing in Porsches, and Abdullah Aziz, well done, congratulations on winning this race for a second time. What are your feelings right now?
I can't express how happy I am. Thanks for the whole team, thanks for my teammates, and it's been an amazing job from everyone. Done this for I think 11 years now, and I won it once, so this is the second time. It's really good, and the competition is amazing, so I'm really happy to be here.
How does it compare with your first victory?
It's a bit harder, I think. The competition level has grown, and the number of cars is even more. So it was a harder time for us to hang on to the first.
And where are we going to see you racing next? We see you regularly at Le Mans, of course. What's your program?
I haven't planned anything yet. It's still in the beginning of the year, so we'll enjoy this and then we'll see what happens.
Absolutely. Time to celebrate.
Thank you.
And he's got the flag around his neck too.
Abdulaziz Al Faisal, the Saudi Arabian driver, last winning in 2015 for Black Falcon, and actually sharing the victory that year with Hubert Haupt and with Jelmer Berman. The addition, though, and therefore the debut win for, or the first win in this event for Gabriele Piana. And I think a lot of credit should be paid to the Italian for keeping that car on the straight and narrow through the night, particularly. I remember when the 2 Black Falcon cars ran almost in formation for a while. I stepped away from the race for a mere 2.5 hours and came back and it had all changed, resulting in, sadly, the retirement for the number 3 Mercedes. We also had problems for the 24. The number 1 car was out of the race as well. That crazy 3-hour period between 8:30 and 11:30 this morning. Back to Andrew Marriott for...
Yeah, I'm with Matthew, if I could...
Matthew Jaminet, yes.
Just having congratulating Ralph Innichen, and can I just grab you, Matthew? You just shook hands there with Rolf, but that was tough right to the end, just a few seconds. You really had to concentrate.
Yeah, it was really a hard finish. Was pushing just 100%, giving everything we had. It was not an easy race for us, but in the end we are there, P2. So yeah, just thanks to my team, thanks to my teammate, to Porsche, because yeah, I think we deserve that one.
Well done, congratulations. I'm going to go right over and see Rolf and dive in with him. Rolf, wow, what a finish that was for second place. You almost had him.
Yeah, it was not good. It was in the end, I did push too much. I knew that the Porsche was behind me and he was really, really fast, so we had to push a lot. I had really bad luck through the yellows. I lost there a lot of time, and then I just over-pushed the last corner. Couldn't do anything. Did a spin, I had to wait then all the cars passing. Yeah, I tried to catch up again, but it was too dangerous, too much risk, so we decided to finish the race.
I think you came from 75th place or something like that, all the way up. Incredible drive, well done.
Yeah, we're really, really happy. In the beginning, when we had the 3 punctures, we were almost around P80, I guess, after 3 hours. So for us, the race was almost finished, and we said, no, let's push like hell. And maybe we can finish in the end in a good position, and that we come to the podium is really, really great. Thank you to all my teammates. They all did a really, really good job. The whole team did a really good job. We had good pit stops. All went perfect, so we finished now 3rd. We're really happy.
Well done, thank you.
Rolf Innichen and the other guys from the 964 car, they look very, very damn beat, don't they? Particularly Mirko Bortolotti, Christian Engelhardt and Mark Innichen completing the lineup there. I hadn't realised the Lamborghini had had a spin as well. Low as 80th position, says Rolf Innichen. Quite a feat to get it back to 3rd.
It wasn't quite that low, but
sounds good, though.
It does indeed. 66. But as I say, don't spoil the story. I think what must be doubly frustrating for them was that even had their code 60 at the end of the race played out differently for them, then they could have also still taken the win, so or taken the 2nd place. And so that you can understand the kind of frustration with the what ifs, you know. But I think the most telling remark was the one that Mirko Bortolotti made to Andrew when he interviewed him just before the last stint. We go back to the factory and we start thinking about the next race. We don't go back to the factory and start reflecting on what we did wrong in this race. We start thinking about the next race, and that's how you have to do these things. We've seen the hashtag This Is Insurance videos, and the endurance is 88%, 90%, 95% misery. It's being fed up, it's getting disappointment, it's things going wrong. You just get that 5% of absolute joy when it comes through and it wins the race for you.
You've got to learn how to lose to learn how to win. Yeah, you've got to learn how to lose to learn how to win. And I wouldn't say you completely forget what's happened in the last 24 hours. You've got to take stock of what's happened in the last 24 hours to move on and learn from.
Oh yeah,
so let's not completely forget.
We have got the opportunity now to speak to Jean-Carl Vernet, one of the winners in the 130 Volkswagen Golf in the TCE race. Andrew Marriott.
Certainly am. Jean-Carl's down here. Well, that was a good old battle, and congratulations on winning the TCR race.
Yes, thank you very much. I mean, it was a great fight all during the 24 hours. And thanks to all the team, to the Lieke Engschler team. Everybody did a really amazing job. My teammates, Benny Löschler, Florian Thoma, and Luca Engschler. So now I'm really happy. It was not easy. We had we're a bit lucky with the code 60 at the beginning of the race, but we made it to P1. So I mean, it's great. It was pretty tough for the car with this kind of weather. And I'm really happy. Thanks Volkswagen, and thanks Lieke Moly.
Did you have any problems at all?
Just the end. Everybody was on everything was on fire in the car, so I just have to finish the race. I mean, we were like overheating the engine, the gearbox, everything was just really on the edge, so I had to take care about it.
JK, you only just made it. Well done. No wonder you got a smiley face. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, a couple of laps as a victory in the end for the 130 car ahead of the 129, and a confirmation then of the results as that great sight of the cars all grouped together out of turn 16. This is the TCE race. Confirmation that the Liqui Moly Team Exler Volkswagen Golf takes victory then by 2 laps from the 129 LMS Racing by Baz Kooten Racing, Seat Leon. It's the Bonk Motorsport Audi RS3 in 3rd position ahead of the 57 Motorsports Audi from the United Arab Emirates. So good to get a local team inside the top 5. The 308 car, the Team Altron Peugeot, finished 5th ahead of the CWS Engineering Ginetta. That was the SP3 winner. And then 4 Cup 1 cars, proving just how bulletproof they can be over a 24-hour race. Regulars in the VLN and the Creventic promoted series. And it's Hoffa Racing, powered by Bonk Motorsport, that wins Cup 1 to finish 7th in the TCE race overall. A2 victory, perhaps unsurprisingly going the way of the Sicily Motorsport Renault Clio. The 162 car seemingly never missed a beat, and the 2nd place in A2 going the way of the Peugeot RCZ of Johnson Consulting. There's the Team Altron Peugeot number 908 finishing 12th. Modena Motorsports led the race at one time but finishes 15th in the TCE series. Lamera Cup, 16th position. The CWS Ginetta 278 finished in 18th place ahead of the Century Motorsport 229 car. And then just whipping through the rest of the results, the Optimum Motorsport Ginetta, big fire for that car in the middle of the night. There was a problem for the Honda Civic, the world debut of the Honda Civic in TCR configuration for RKC TGM Motorsport. That'll be back in later rounds, be assured of that. And congratulations for Kohlreuser Racing for keeping their BMW M3 going in the SP3 category. We'll move through to the GT Series of results now. Black Falcon taking their 4th win here at the Dubai 24 Hours, and a 1st win for the AMG GT. Abdulaziz Al Faisal, Hubert Haupt, Jelmer Berman and Gabriele Piana doing the driving. 2nd place for Manthey Racing's Porsche, Otto Close, Lars Kern, Matthias Jaminet and Sven Muller. And 3rd position for the 964 GRT Grasser Racing team. We heard from Rolf Ineichen a short time ago. 4th place for the number 16 SPS Automotive Performance car, the green camouflage liveried Mercedes. 5th place for the BW team Muka Motorsport Audi. And then was the first SPX car from the Ukraine, Tsunami RT and their Porsche, getting into the top 6 overall in the GT Series race. A string of AM cars. That was quite a dice in the end, and it was won by the SPS cars I've mentioned, but 2nd place going to the way of the V8 Racing Chevrolet Corvette. HTP Motorsports Mercedes finishing 3rd in that division. FAC Autotech doing what they do in the 991 class, their pro category, going the way of the number 62 car, finishing 14th, and the Lambda Performance Ford was 15th. On to the next page for GT Series standings. GP Extremes Renault finished 16th place. Sadly, the 28 car was retired very early on, but the 27 does get a race finish. 991 AM going to Race Pro Motorsport, the 67 car winning from 26, the MRS GT Racing entry, and then the Dual Racing number 95. And GT4 was a 1-2 for Phoenix Racing, so that brand new Audi R8 LMS GT in the GT4 iteration going to finish 24th and 26th to get a 1-2 in the GT4 category. The 264 Black Falcon Mercedes, the GT4 version of the Mercedes Team TMD friction car, finished 29th, just ahead of another 991 Pro car, the number 63 in 30th position. Outside of the top 30, the Beza Group Racing GT4 car finished 31st, ahead of Sorg Rensport's number 33 car. The 3Y Technology 269 machine coming home in 35th position. And then we had a couple of speed lover Porsches, and here, sadly, is where we find the retirements, including the number 3 Black Falcon Mercedes, badly damaged after it collided with the number 1 Hoffa Racing car, which is in the results as finishing 45th, but we didn't see it for the remaining 4 or 5 hours, I'm afraid. The Lamera Cup cars did reasonably well, 3 of them, and we'll see whether that class builds in the future of the 24H series, but number 60 finishing 43rd. So that is the way the 2 different races, the 2 separate races, finished in the 24 Hours of Dubai. To Andrew Marriott to get a view of the camels then for 2018. And remember, this race different from all the previous ones. 6 camels here in the Middle East. And there is Abdulaziz Al Faisal, rightly placed at the head of the camel queue.
Yes, certainly, Abdulaziz with a big smile on his face. We've had lots of cars down this pit lane, but now we've got a train of 6 camels. So, what a fantastic race it's been. All sorts of different temperatures here, quite cold in the night, but absolutely blazing now. We've had so much traffic. Can you ever believe a race that had so much traffic? But for my first Dubai 24, I've had absolutely fantastic time. What a great race. I hope I can come back again. Back to you in the booth.
Pit lane, Andy, very much part of our broadcast, and particularly through the hour. My thanks to everyone that has patrolled the pit lane: Nick Damon, Bruce Jones, Joe Bradley and Andrew Marriott, and up here in the booth, John Hindhoff, Joe again, and Paul Truswell over to my right. Next, we will be obviously doing post-race tech for the next half an hour, looking back on the 13th running of the 24 Hours of Dubai on RS2 IMSA Radio. Don't forget that in 2 weeks' time, it'll be the Daytona 24 Hours. We've got midweek motorsport, though, on Wednesday, looking ahead to a very busy period on RS2 with Daytona 24 at the end of this month, and at the start of February, the Bathurst 12 Hours as well. But midweek motorsport will have some reaction to the latest Dubai 24 Hours and looking ahead to more exciting dates in 2018. It's every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. GMT. And next on RS1, it is, for radio only, that is, our post-race tech. You can get involved using the hashtag D24PRT. From all of us here in Dubai, though, after our race coverage, bye-bye for now.
Weekend's 13th running of the Hankook 24 Hours of Dubai. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear. Here are the drivers on the camels in fantastic Dubai tradition. And what a sight it is. The TCE Series class winners and the GT Series winners. And what a celebration. And I can tell you, for some of them, it's more scary to ride on the back of a camel than to drive a race car at 300 kilometers per hour here at Dubai Autodrome. But what a performance we've seen by all of them. What an achievement by everybody of you down there. You have more than plenty of reason to celebrate after your great achievement and after making it through these 24 grueling hours at Dubai Autodrome. Let's hear from everybody down there. Are you happy? Have you enjoyed a great weekend of racing here in Dubai? There you go. It's always a fantastic way to start the season. And once again, thank you very much down there to the colleagues of Radio Show Limited, RadioLeMans.com, Andrew Marriott down there in the pit lane, everybody up there in the booth, the pit lane commentary team, the responsible adult, Eve Hewitt, John Hindhoff, Johnny Palmer, and Nick Damon, and everybody who's supported us in a great way and has been doing so for many, many years already. Thanks to everybody of you for the great cooperation. And now, as I said, plenty of reason to celebrate after all the achievements in this weekend's race. A very international event, so let's hear. Are there any people from the United Kingdom here? We'll have plenty of drivers for you to celebrate. Gibt es hier Anwesende aus Deutschland? Ja, geht doch. Wie immer lautstark vertreten. Wunderbar. Zijn er mensen uit Nederland? Est-ce qu'il y a des Français ou des francophones de la Belgique? Sono anche qui gli italiani? También los españoles? And people from the United Arab Emirates. And Swiss, of course, the Swiss flag flying there on the pit wall as well. A truly international event, and no less than 45 different nationalities represented here at Dubai Autodrome this weekend. And I can really say on behalf of everybody involved in the organization of Creventic, of the DNRT, a great and heartfelt thanks to everyone involved of the Dubai Autodrome, the ACTUA, and the official organizations for hosting us for the 13th year already for what has become the official start of the international motor racing season 2018 in this case. We're waiting for the drivers to arrive here to get ceremonies going, to get the prize giving underway. A lot of trophies to be presented because everybody who has achieved the top 3 finish in class deserves an award, deserves a nice souvenir of this fantastic weekend here at Dubai Autodrome. The opening round of the 2018 Creventic Series powered by Hankook. For the first time we've split it up in the 24-hour GT Series and the 24-hour TCE Series, so separate classifications for GTs and touring cars, and great competition. We've seen so many stories to tell, so many dramas that unfolded throughout the 24 hours, not just in the battle for outright owners, but also in the various classes. And I'm sure every one of the 89 teams that took the start here yesterday, a little bit more than 24 hours ago, will have so many stories to tell about this weekend, what they have encountered here on track, what they have achieved in the pit lane, on the pit wall, standing in front of the timing screens, keeping track of what was going on at the circuit, and great performance, and congratulations to all of you for having made it to the finish all the way
instruments glowing as warmly as the embers in your heart.
More and more drivers arriving, ready for the podium ceremony, and I'm waiting for the official results so we can get proceedings underway. Jolien, hebben we een uitslag? Ja. The results are being processed and they will arrive shortly so we can get proceedings underway for the official award ceremony at the end of the 13th running of the Hankook 24 Hours of Dubai. And in this place also many thanks to our series partner, our exclusive tire partner and title sponsor of the event, to Hankook. Manfred Sandbichler and his team have provided great service once again, and many thanks to all of you for that as well. Welke overal?
Ja, die heb ik aan Daan gegeven.
Oké. Eén set overal. Nee, ik moet één set overal hebben.
Welke naam heb jij die podium gaan doen?
Die
van mij.
Deze.
Okay, ja,
maar ik moet iets met voornamen.
Dan moeten we bij die...
Ja, wacht even. Ja. Ja, die is officieel. Mee. Ja. ceremony here in Dubai, and the 4th victory for your team, Black Falcon, already. A roller coaster of emotions for your team. Tell us a little bit about it, please.
It was a tough race, I think, for everyone. A lot of cars and a lot of strong competition. I think this was the hardest year that I've competed here, so glad that we won it. And this goes to the whole team and the drivers and to all the fans from Saudi and everyone in Saudi watching. Thank you.
You drove the car across the finish line. Tell us a little bit about your emotions on that final lap. What was it like to cross the line?
It was mixed emotions because I just wanted it to finish. And yeah, just happy that we could finish on the top. So yeah, just happy that we're here and we can perform and we can finish on the top. That's the greatest achievement.
Okay, thank you very much. Enjoy your success. A quick word from Sven Müller in the 2nd place team for Manthey Racing. Sven, last week you were competing at Daytona in the Roar for the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona. Now here on the podium in Dubai. Quite a difference in temperature. Tell us about it.
Yeah, we are really happy about. It was a really good race. A little issue, but yeah, we are really happy. Was a good practice. So next week we can fight for the win.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, in 3rd place, the team that started from pole position and had a lot of emotions, a roller coaster of emotions for you as well. But the first ever podium for Lamborghini in the Dubai 24 Hours, Mirko Bortolotti. Tell us about your feelings, please.
Well, first of all, we are happy to be here after the 3 punctures we saw after the beginning of the race. I think, yeah, we can see it from 2 sides. Obviously, from one side, we can be happy with the results, as I mentioned, because we dropped down to P80 or something like that. So coming back, pushing so hard. The team did really great. We did no mistakes with strategy. We made everything, right. My teammates as well. So we pushed really hard to be here. Makes me really happy and really proud. On the other hand, obviously, without those punctures, I think we could have been in a game fighting for the win. So we know what we have to do better next time.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's get proceedings continued for the prize-giving ceremony in the GT overall class. And to celebrate the winning team from Germany, let's hear the national anthem for the Black Falcon team. Congratulations to the top 3 in the GT overall of the 24-hour GT series powered by Hankook. And to hand over the trophies, may I please ask His Highness Sheikh Juma Al Maktoum to present the trophies, starting with the 3rd placed team, GRT Grasser Racing from Austria, taking the first podium for Lamborghini in Dubai with drivers Mark Ineichen, Rolf Ineichen, Christian Engelhardt and Mirko Bortolotti. Yes, that's well worth an applause. It's quite an achievement in itself, what they have done. The setback and making their way back up from 80th place or something and then finishing on the podium. So quite an achievement for the Lamborghini team. In 2nd place for Porsche, still the winningest brand here in Dubai with 5 victories. And that's for the Manthey Racing team with Otto Kloos, Lars Kern, Mathieu Jaminet and Sven Müller. And the overall GT winners of the 13th running of the Hankook 24 Hours of Dubai. Black Falcon, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear for Abdulaziz Al Faisal, Hubert Haupt, Jelmer Böhrmann and Gabriele Piana. And to celebrate the winners in style, we have the big trophy presented for the second time, and the team who manages to win it for the third time can get to keep it. The very, very big trophy for the winning team, for Black Falcon Racing, and what a trophy it is. Gentlemen, congratulations to all of you for a fine performance in this weekend's 13th running of the Hankook 24 Hours of Dubai. Please raise your trophies and your flags if you have some. It's a good opportunity for the photographers to take the commemorative picture, which I'm sure we will see in all the international media, the newspapers tomorrow, and also the program for next year's race, because of course we are looking forward to coming back here next year again, 2019, for the 14th running of this race. The top three, please raise your trophies. And if all the photographers are happy, camera, TV crews, everybody has their shots. You deserve all the media attention you can get after your achievement in this year's race. And if I get the sign, everybody's happy. Okay, thank you very much. If you could please join us again in the room, because we have some more silverware for you to collect. But first of all, we continue with the TCE series. For the first time, an official podium ceremony overall for the 24-hour TCE series here as well.
As for over a half-century, the season begins anew at Daytona, where an array of stars from every major form of motorsport from around the world have come to strap into a sports car and measure themselves against the great track's greatest challenge. A race that demands everything car, driver, and team can give for 24 exhausting hours. Utilizing Daytona's high-speed, high-banked oval and the tight, twisty turns of its infield road course, racing non-stop from day into night and back into day in every type of condition imaginable, this is the ultimate test. Sacrifice and struggle loom at every turn, danger lurking around every corner. Make one mistake, deviate 1 inch, blink, and the result could be disastrous. Those who have met the long and unforgiving challenge represent a roll call of racing history, who come back year after year, writing some of the most exciting chapters in the history books of the sport, creating the legends that have made this one of the greatest races in the world. This year, who will earn the right to be called champion of the Rolex 24 at Daytona? The wait is nearly over. A new season has dawned, and history waits to write another chapter.